that went well, I would say. You never know for sure. But as per usual, I went back and checked all my connections, and they're almost all rubbish. And that's one of the biggest things if you ever deal with a DC system, AC and DC, but primarily DC, especially with batteries. Make good connections. But so, anyways, uh, we're making a wee bit of ice, I'd say. You can even see the ice forming right there. Like, oh, what? It doesn't make very big ice cubes, but it does make ice cubes. And that is how I keep perishables. I haven't been doing that since I mean, what do you expect? It's only been a year since the flood. Can't do everything. But so, anyways, the powerhouse. There is another battery with the 12-volt system, but this right here is what I've been working on, and it seems to be going well. You see the voltage readout on my 1500 watt pure sine wave inverter. This is a 24 volt system, so a little bit different than the 12 volt system, which is why there's separate systems right now, and we need to have both. More volts, typically you can reach greater wattage output, which is the measure of electricity. Electricity is measured in watts. Volts are the invisible magnetic field, or the amount of charge each one of the electrons has. Amps or current is the physical number of electrons passing by a certain point at a certain time, millions and millions of coulombs. Anyways, so that's why I want to go to a 24 volt system. But it's been a little bit patchy because of course I still have 12 volt batteries, and what you do is you hook up the batteries in series, which is no different than when you stack two AAA's together. AAA batteries, as well as AA's, C's, D's, 1.5 volts. Stack two of them in series, which means positive, negative. Then you got 3 volts. Which, by the way, the funny thing about batteries is when they reach their nameplate voltage, or for example, AAA's, when they get down to 1.5 volts, they're pretty much done. Out of the box, they have 1.9 volts. Same with the 12 volt batteries. And that's what a lot of people don't know is car batteries, for example, if you leave your lights on until the battery's completely flat, you just damage the battery. Some batteries you can only do that 2-3 times before it's time to get another battery. I tell some people that tell them blue in the face, and then next time I see them, they'll have a pile of dead batteries, and they have no idea what happened. Deep cycle batteries, slightly different. You can bring them down to 50% before they start derating, but even then, they can only do that a certain amount of times. But so anyways, yeah, so that's what this guy is here. This is the positive, negative. And these are 2 lithium-ion batteries. Oh, what's this? Oh, ice cubes. And then down below them, there's 4 more batteries. Those are flooded lead acid batteries that came out of a UPS system, which is uninterruptible power supply. This is what you see in office spaces, like the big cube that their computers are plugged into. That's so if the power goes out, there is a battery inside of those, not a a strip surge protector or whatever, not that, but I'm talking about the big heavy cubes. There is a 12 volt battery in those, most from 12 volts to my knowledge, and it switches over to run off of the 12 volt battery should the power go out. That way you don't lose your servers, or your computer won't crash or whatnot. Which brings me to my next really cool life hack that I discovered one time when my other inverter went out. I started thinking about it and said, well, if that's how UPSs work, this is one right here. I said, well, then they must have inverters in them as well, which turns out to be true. And you can usually find these at a thrift store because somebody's already taken the battery out of them because that was their only interest. And so I think I paid $4 for this one. And I already had 12 volt batteries, so did a little DIY with some wires here. It took the beeper out of it, the little buzzer, which was just annoying. But and this was great. I was working on this for a while, and recently it just decided that it was done, which is fine because I have the other one. But it was always nice to have a backup. Like for example, when I was doing all that wiring, I wanted to run my soldering iron right here. But then I remembered I can't because I'm working on my inverter, and so I couldn't use my soldering iron. And this is the other 12-volt system right here. Beethoven is in charge of this one, and Frog Dog. And there was maybe some questions about how I charge my phones and whatnot at this point, and that comes off of this battery. I've got these handy little quick release battery terminal connectors right here where I can hook up a multitude of things, which is nice because, like I was saying earlier, this is just one solar panel hooked up to here, and this thing is cool. I haven't seen one. I believe I got this at Harbor Freight for like $7 or something, and it's brilliant because it will tell you. Oh, nice one. When you get too high, or if, when your voltage is good, so you don't run your batteries flat like so many people do. And I don't think I've seen one since then, but I would love to have another one. Just earlier today, point being that I need to disconnect the solar panels periodically, well, actually daily at least, and that's my indicator. It tells me, your battery's charged up and your voltage is too high, and it would be in your best interest to disconnect it. And this little battery right here is a powerhouse. This battery I actually ran into one time driving down the road because this mental midget named Smokey decided that his Subaru needed a new battery because it wasn't running well. It started just fine, but it wasn't running well. So good old Smokey decided he needed a new battery. And this one he managed to set out in the street. And so I run into it with my car and had a couple words with Smokey about how I felt about it. And then brought it back, and I have overcharged this thing so many times, and you can hear the fluid boiling in there. Some of the cells are damn near completely dry, and it's still a wonderful battery. I need to fill those cells up. But anyways, this is what tells me when I've gone too far, and I'm overcharging another battery. So yeah, it's same with the 24-volt system. Of course, I've got two solar panels hooked up in series, same as I've got the batteries hooked up in series. That does go a little bit bonkers, and my inverter will go into alarm on a hot day, and that buzzer is loud. I need to do something about that. I don't want to disconnect the buzzer because it's very functional. It'll tell me if I'm running my batteries too flat. And keep in mind that all this should be on a charge controller. That's the first thing that you do is you get a $30 charge controller from Amazon, which I did have, and it's still down there somewhere in the pit of despair. When Big Tree fell down, it fell on top of my battery bank and on top of my charge controller, which was an adventure. So the charge controller is still down there somewhere. I tried to dig it out one day, and when I tell you the pit of despair, this is an improvement to what it was before. It's scary to even go in there, I'm telling you. And just on the other side of that is the remainder of Big Tree. Yeah, and so I tried to dig it out one time, and then I saw one of the wires, and I barely tugged on the wire. It just came right out, which means there was a lot of deterioration in the wires. And, I'd be surprised if it still worked. So now I'm just kind of limping along without a charge controller, which is cautionary because it could damage my batteries, which is terrible. But what's interesting is the whole system, the batteries and the charge controller, and I think some of the solar panels, perhaps not the solar panels, but they were underwater. I could just see like a glowing green light down here underneath the water, and continued working for I think a week or something to that effect. And then Big Tree fell down because the roots got too saturated, which it seems nonsensical because they deliver the water, but they can't be completely submerged, at least with a cottonwood tree, which tend to fall down randomly anyways. But anyways, that's how I do the damn thing. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and smash that bell. Oh, look at it. It's already taking a wee bit of a charge, huh? Nice work, Beethoven. He's a Broncos Nation. But peace, and I'm out.